Hi, I just thought I would do a Q&A for the start of 2017. So I did one late last year. Got a few questions in, so I thought it'd be good to start the new year off with another one. So I have 5 questions for this Q&A. And they're from various different relations in terms of cosplay. So I'll get into them. So the first question is, what is my favorite cosplay and why? And this is from AFS Cosplay. He's a brilliant cosplayer. He has an amazing Joker and Iron Man, so check him out. So in terms of a favorite cosplay, I don't actually have a favorite cosplay, so to speak. Pretty much, the characters that I cosplay are generally my favorite characters. It's part of, pretty much part of the process of when I choose them. It's very much based on what characters I like. So, for example, Walking Dead, my favorite character is Daryl Dixon. So that's why I cosplay him. And yeah, so that's pretty much the main what my favorite one is really just all of them. Because that's basically one of the main reasons why I pick the ones that I do. So the second question is, which of your cosplays were completely assembled and how did you manage to do it so quickly? So this question has come from Waddle IB. I'm lucky enough to be able to work with her in a photo shoot very soon for Mortal Kombat, so I'm looking forward to that. So with my cosplays, majority of them are actually pieced together, so most of the time I'll either buy a base costume and I'll add to it, or sometimes I'll buy individual items and I'll piece it together. I am trying to get into the habit now of crafting more so than buying items, so usually now there's at least one item that I'll handcraft myself. For example, Melisandre, which is one of my cosplays for this year, her necklace I'm handcrafting. My Frost cosplay from last year, I made the Link Y symbol. And Hit Girl is another project that I'm doing this year, and I'm actually making the knife stick weapon that she has. So I am trying to get more into the crafting side of things, which, it means that I do need to give myself a little bit more time, because I need a lot of planning and, time to actually process, do the crafting as well, because I don't have any idea what I'm doing. It's a lot of trial and error. Also with buying cosplays, it's also very much a trial and error process, so I generally start my projects months and months in advance. So for example, Supernova is coming up in June. I started working on that in December, because giving myself the 6 months gives me enough time to refine it to how I'm happy with it, and it gives me a chance to shoot it before the event, so there's photos out there of people that are following. They know what I'm going to look like, so they can find me a bit easier. I am working on choosing a completely from scratch crafted project each year now. This is the first year I'm going to have a completely crafted project, which I am doing Cubone from Pokemon. So I'm taking inspiration from 2 of my favourite games, which is Pokemon and Diablo. So I'm doing a Witch Doctor inspired design with that. So there is armoured components and things like that. So that's that's going to be completely assembled from scratch, and I'm hoping to eventually put that into a competition. I am planning on taking that to PAX, so don't think it'll be this year to go in a competition, but I might bring it out particularly for a competition in the future. So yeah, that's pretty much how I go about it, and in terms of being able to do it so quickly, because I start projects so early, as soon as I research an item and I know that that's exactly the item, I will usually buy that item but given that buying online can be difficult, I need to allow that time in case it doesn't. So my attention to detail in terms of time management and organization kind of majorly comes into play with that. But yeah, so I hopefully will be able to assemble things more from scratch and maybe not rely so much on bought-based costumes and things like that, but that might take a few years because I'm still working on my skills. So the next question is, what got you into cosplay and what has been the toughest one to make? So this is from one of my followers, Jessie. So basically what got me into cosplay is I went to Oz Comic Con in 2014 to meet Jason Momoa because I'm a fan of him as Khal Drogo from Game of Thrones. And I saw a lot of cosplayers there and it kind of got me interested into it, and I started thinking, well, you know, maybe I can do that as well. And for the following year, when convention season started rolling around, I decided to give it a go. So that was Supernova in 2015. And I have been hooked on it since. And the first year of cosplay, I did 5 costumes. And last year I did, I think it was about a total of, it was at least 6 that I did last year. I can't remember off the top of my head, but yeah, each year I am adding more and more projects, because you kind of, once you get the bug for it, you kind of want to keep going and creating new and exciting characters, especially when there's new movies coming out and things like that. The toughest one to make so far, well, none of them have really been that challenging for me so far. I mean, a lot of it's probably more researching maybe techniques and stuff like that in terms of Walking Dead, being able to get, you know, that right dirty look, and things like that. So to make that is tough because, you know, it takes a lot of research and looking at like reference pictures and things like that. But probably my toughest challenge will be this year when I'm making my Cubone cosplay, because I've completely designed that from scratch. I'm working with skills that I've never done, so I haven't done any sewing ever. So I've got a pattern for the first time, and I've got to make modifications to that pattern to make it suit what I want, and I've got to make armor, and yeah, all sorts of different techniques are happening with that. So I'm really looking forward to that, because it's probably it's going to be a massive challenge. I will be posting a lot of work in progress photos in particular for that. I may do tutorials in terms of certain aspects of it down the track if it works. If I do a decent job of it. But yeah, so all cosplays have their like, I guess, their tough points of, you know, things that you find difficult and challenging, but for me, overall, I'd say this Cubone one coming up will be a massive challenge. Last year I did have an attempt at making Melisandre, because I was planning on having her neck last year, but I did have an issue, and it kind of put me off a little bit off creating from scratch for a little bit, because I bought all the material for the dress, but I didn't buy enough material, and then I couldn't get the same material again. So I kind of had to put that project aside. It's still sitting there, staring at me. I eventually will start that over again and get new material for that. That was tough because that was the first time I was dealing with a pattern and things like that, and even the concept of sewing a costume. Yeah, so it's the challenges are good because it makes you want to improve your skills as well, and yeah, it's the whole process is a challenge in a sense, because you are putting yourself out there and your work out there as well, so you're opening yourself up to a lot of criticism as well. Okay, so the next question is, if I could pick only one which convention am I looking forward to the most for this year? So this is from the Elemental Chronicles, which is a fantasy novel that is written by one of my friends. So with conventions this year, there's a lot of new events that I'm adding to the calendar. There's a lot of events that I've already attended that it's remaining on the calendar. But probably the biggest one for me this year will be PAX, because it's the first time I am travelling interstate for a convention. So I will be travelling down to Melbourne, which is a pretty big thing because it means I've got to transport my cosplay, I've got to book accommodation and flights and everything like that. So it's going to be a lot of juggle in terms of, you know, work and things like that, and actually travelling. But it's, from what I've heard, it's an amazing convention. So it's, you know, for my first interstate con, like, it was definitely high on my list to go to. But I'm excited for all the conventions overall, really, because there's a lot of exciting things that are happening this year in terms of my cosplays. My partner's cosplaying with me for the first time this year as well, so I'm really looking forward to that. Yeah, because he's got the bug for it as well. And of course, I'll have my, the juniors, which is my partner's little second cousins. They'll be joining me again, they'll do their own projects and stuff. They don't need me to cosplay with them. They're happy to do their own thing. But it's exciting because they're kids and they get excited about it. So it's exciting for me to see them get into it and, you know, enjoy all the fun that all of us adults get to do as well. I'm also going to be doing a lot of challenging stuff this year. They won't be at conventions themselves. That's likely probably to happen from next year. I'll be doing some more personally challenging cosplays. But yeah. So the last question that I have is the best advice for people wanting to go into competitions. So this has come from one of my fellow cosplayers, Emerald Dragplay. He's amazing. So basically, I have done some judging. I did some judging last year. So in terms of competitions, like, I've been in competitions as well. I haven't won any yet, but I go into them anyway. The key thing is to have fun, because yeah, at the end of the day, no matter whether you win or lose, as long as you're having fun, that's the most important thing. There's no such thing as a loser in my eyes. I think everyone, you know, everyone tries their hardest, and everyone has amazing cosplays, so it is very difficult to make a decision on these kinds of things. The other things that I would say is to know your character, because not always the host of the competition or the judges will know who the character is. So if you come out and you present yourself and you're on point with your character, like, we don't know who it is, even the people watching the competition may not know, but you might be able to get you probably get more of an idea of the kind of character that they are based on what you know about them as well. Be confident. You know, it is a very nervous thing. You do get, it can be very confronting. But if you're confident and you don't let your nerves show, that will probably go a long way. It is very difficult when it's your first competition to hide those. I know from experience. It is a very daunting thing to be up on stage in front of a group of people. In terms of going into the high level comps like championships and things like that, definitely document all of your work in progress. Take photos, make notes, compile a portfolio if you think that you need to. It's very critical for judges in those high levels that they can see the work that you've done and how you've done it. They do ask you a lot of questions in terms of that kind of thing. And make sure when you're talking to the judges in the pre-judging scenario, or even if you're in a smaller competition and it crops up about details about your cosplay, make sure you point out the the fine details or something that's unique about it. Because sometimes that might be the one thing that will stick to make you stand out a little bit more. If there's something that's, you know, a little bit unique twist that you've done to make it your own, or a detail that you may not notice watching the TV show or in the comic that that you've picked up on and included. So and even if there's something that's like something you had a very big challenge in doing, you know, that's always an interesting thing to point out as well. When you're posing for photos, make sure you know your poses, because you want to be able to obviously be confident that you know how your character would pose and things like that. Also makes it better for photos, and comes across in terms of, you know, your confidence in the character and things like that as well. And if you have the opportunity, have a go at doing a skit. One of my friends, Blatant Labs, he does a skit majority of the time. He'll go into a competition, and you know, you may not have the best costume, but if you have a skit, you can always win the best skit category if it's good enough. So definitely worthwhile having a crack at it. But yeah, so that's, you know, at the end of the day, have fun. Even if you think you're not good enough, have a go at it anyway. At the end of the day, cosplay is fun, and we do it to express our fandom and the love for our fandom. So I don't think there's a reason why someone shouldn't go into a competition. And you know, if the first time you don't succeed, just keep trying, keep working harder, and eventually you'll get there. Cosplay is a process. We're always constantly improving our projects and upgrading our cosplays and our skills. So eventually, you know, you'll get to the cosplay to the level you want it. That concludes the questions for this Q&A. I will try and do another one probably in another couple of months. I do want to try and keep this as a regular thing, because it's good to know. It's good to find out what you guys want to know about me in terms of cosplay or my fandoms or anything like that. So I will probably try and post another one in another couple of months, and I'll hopefully have some more other videos to come onto the YouTube channel. I am working on doing a tutorial in terms of Walking Dead and how I make my cosplays for that. And hopefully I'll have a few other exciting things, some vlogs and some other exciting things for the YouTube channel as well. But until next time, I will see you guys later.